Hey doodlers, Umai Downs here with,
Father?
and today we are going to be listening to the Gaming Nobodies episode 4, 5, 4, 4, 2 of really us making a comeback.
Yep.
So for those of you who don't know, this is a podcast for you guys to maybe put on in the background, listen to while you do some other things on your computer. We usually talk about 3 subjects every episode.
Yep.
These usually run from a good 40 to an hour, 40
Yep.
minutes to an hour.
So, just put us in your background, relax, listen to us talk for about an hour, and, leave a comment.
Yeah.
Respond. We'd love to enter in discussion.
Yeah. If you leave a comment, we will be responding to not as the Gaming Nobodies, but as our respective YouTube comments.
Yes. Also, hello Screw Attack. Hello YouTube.
Yeah.
Since we started posting on Screw Attack since last week, we've also changed the schedule.
Yes.
We are no longer uploading on Saturdays.
Yes, we're going to upload on Thursdays.
Either Wednesdays or Thursdays.
Wednesdays or Thursdays.
Depending on how much time I have in those 2 days. If it's not up on Wednesday, it will definitely be up on Thursday.
Yes, and as time goes on, we will get a more solid schedule down,
Yep.
and that will be all fun and dandy.
Also, we'll try to maybe record some episodes that can fit it in any time frame. So if we miss a week, maybe something like that, we'll have something. Even if it's something shorter. We'll think of something. We'll announce it like maybe next week or maybe in 2 weeks or so. Up till then, it shouldn't be an issue, anyways.
We should be fine.
But yeah,
okay.
subscribe, leave a comment, like, all of that fun stuff.
Yes.
Let's get into the subject of nostalgia.
Okay, so that's our first subject. We're going to be talking about notre and kind of older games, and whatnot, and how people perceive them.
Yes.
Now, interestingly enough, years ago, I actually had this theory, about the future of gaming, and that was because a lot of gamers that grew up doing playing the NES and whatnot when they were really little, like my brother, who's late 20s now. Now people like that who really love these NES games, they're growing up and they have income and they have free time, because they have a settled job that they can play games again, and so. I made the theory years ago that maybe nostalgia-based games would be coming back to Nintendo, and you saw that a lot with like a new Donkey Kong Country and Kirby and Mario returning to an older side-scrolling type of gameplay.
Yep.
It didn't really work out perfectly as I kind of imagined it. But it seemed like it was going that direction for a little while.
Well, I mean, nostalgia is probably one of the things that makes all of the older games look so much better than some of them might actually be. It's very subjective.
Yep.
Some games, some people will love, some will hate.
Yep.
But generally, a lot of people agree that these very old games, for the people like us who are not part of that whole NES generation, we're more of the PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and little bit. We're early 90s people.
Yeah.
We don't have as much of a nostalgia for these older things. They're great. I enjoy them. I agree they're good. But I didn't grow up with them, so I don't see them as good as what someone who would be older than me would. Right.
I mean, nostalgia is a driving force when it comes to buying things. It really is.
Yeah, and I mean, and I feel like the new games that are trying to mimic the old ones get criticized a lot because they have legit criticisms with these games.
Yep.
But some people might not realize that the games are actually very, very similar to what the old ones are, and they don't feel the same because they are not. It's not the same game. It's a little bit different.
Right.
It has maybe some new things. It has updated graphics, and it makes a difference in your mind because it's no longer the same game. I probably one of my favorite games of all time is Final Fantasy IX.
Right.
I absolutely love that game. It's
you
really
you
amazing
talk about
game.
It a lot.
I do talk about it a lot because it's a very underrated game.
Yeah.
Most people look at 7, they look at 8, and then they jump to 10. A lot of people have not even heard or seen anything from Final Fantasy IX, which is really weird because it is a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, I mean, I started off with Final Fantasy X, so I'm the horrible casual fanboy of Final Fantasy series.
Yes.
To be made fun of at will.
Yes.
But yeah, no,
I mean, imagine if Final Fantasy IX for me like would be coming back, updated graphics, maybe some new things to it. I don't know if I would like that. Like, because I remember Final Fantasy IX the way I have it in my mind. Whenever I replay it, it's great. It's those shitty graphics. It's pretty good for the time.
Right, exactly.
It's fun. It's nice. Good story. Like, part of me kind of wants like a really cool HD remake. But I like the art style the way it is now, and I feel like it would take away from what it is.
Well, I'm bound to disagree with you because of two examples that are in my head.
Okay.
And the first is Resident Evil 1, which, the original Resident Evil 1 was really bad, and so it needed a remake. But the remake, the nostalgia-based remake, was really good, and it brought back a lot of fans of the series.
Yeah.
But the big example that I really think of is Ocarina of Time for 3DS, which was a complete remake with entirely new graphic that followed a very similar art style. So you barely, in a lot of cases, you barely notice the difference. But like, if you did a side-by-side comparison, it was obvious that, oh my god, these graphics are so much better. And I love the 3DS version. I think it's amazing. I grew up playing Ocarina of Time. I loved playing it, and I love the 3DS one. So I feel, in Final Fantasy IX's sense, you think if they recreated it, but pretty much the same game with a similar art style, do you think?
How like I mean I've played the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time. I played in the past the Nintendo 64. I never owned a Nintendo 64 as a kid. I had the PlayStation 1, so that's what we used. How much of an upgrade it is it because it's not like a complete like upgrade. It's sharper graphics.
Yes, it's sharper graphics. The biggest art style wise, the biggest difference that you can find is definitely that it's colorful. It's really that they really enhance a lot of the colors.
Okay.
But say you had a background, or not necessarily a background, but a wall in that game. It wouldn't have any dimension to it. It would just be one wall, and there wouldn't be any depth to it. I guess it was clearly flat. They made it so it's more modern. How you would in a modern world make a wall to look better. And the backgrounds don't look so fake and distant, and everything works better. Like, I mean, obviously it's less polygon pixelated kind of thing.
Like my main point is not like I'm talking like a full HD remake.
A full HD.
Like, have you seen?
Are we talking about full HD remake, as in the differences between Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil Remake? Because those are massive.
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 Like
differences.
massive, like going from old gen to new generation graphics.
Okay.
Like this generation graphic. Like, have you seen that one? At some point Sony like showed a remake of the Final Fantasy VII opening in HD full like PlayStation graphics.
I have not seen this.
And I mean, it's like going from old gen to new gen, like how different it looks.
And how was it?
I mean, it was never intended for it to become a game. It was just because they said like making this would take like 100 years.
That's a long time.
Yep,
that's a very long time.
It was a ridiculously high number, and they were like, "It's not possible."
Right, you just can't.
Because it's just insane. I mean, I don't think it would take like that much time. It would just have to essentially just remake the game from scratch,
right?
Which takes a long time. And I mean, I understand that. That's fine. But what I'm saying, like, kind of like the Resident Evil 1 thing.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, and the main part is that the game was originally not that great.
Right. That's the thing that worked with Resident Evil. The original game, especially the voice acting, was horrid. It was literally, it's horrid. Barry Burton in the original was just absurd.
Oh,
Barry. But then you have the remake, which was built from the ground up, adding new areas, new bosses, better graphics, better voice acting, the whole thing, and it worked because the original game had a lot of flaws.
And my main point is, take a game like Mario, make it HD, like the way they did. I still don't see Mario the way the 3D Mario. I still see pixelated Mario on a side-scroller 2D platform. That's how I picture Mario, because that's how I grew up with Mario.
Okay, even though he's in HD now.
Yeah.
In your head, you still...
Yes. And for me, I don't like that. I really like the new Mario look. I mean, it's not... I mean... Yeah, cool, whatever.
I don't think it's that bad.
It's not bad, but it's not what I picture in my head. It's not what I see when I think of Mario.
Right, but would that stop you from buying a game? I mean, what we're talking about right now is nostalgia driving people to buy games.
I don't know. Like, I feel like it might. Okay. I feel like it might. Like, I might just be like, I don't really care enough. If it's, let me put it this way. If it's a game, like, probably if they did this for Final Fantasy IX, then definitely I would do it.
Okay.
Like, 100%. I would get the game, and I would play it. I would compare it. I might moan a little bit about it if it's not done very well, but I would definitely get it.
Right.
But if it's any other series, I don't know if I would.
I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I would love to see more and more complete remakes, or even just keep the game the same, but keep the graphics, just improve the graphics, and bring it back. I would love to see tons of new games from the previous
and they're doing more and more of that. Yeah. Especially for the PlayStation is also doing a lot of that. They're like HD remakes of their PlayStation 2 game, the best ones like Sly Cooper, God of War, Eco, and
if someone took Turok 2 from N64 and put it on a modern console with modern graphics, oh my god, it would be so good.
Yeah.
But it would still, if it didn't keep the same, if they changed anything else about the game, I probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
So nostalgia, it's definitely playing with fire.
Yeah.
As a developer, because if you do it right, oh my god, you can make beautiful things.
Yeah.
But if you screw it up, people will be very, very upset with you.
And I mean, you have to take into account like all of the bad things that there were with all these older games. They're not like no game is perfect in my opinion. There's there are games that get very close to being pretty much perfect.
No game deserves a 10 out of 10.
No, I don't ever think that any game deserves a 10 out of 10, no matter how good it is, because there is going to be times where you're bored or you're not enjoying it as much, stuff like that.
Yep.
Essentially, for me, like, what I think they need to be careful of is all of the issues that there are in older games. You need to take those into account and make sure that they don't get transferred over.
But sometimes the issues with games are what people almost love about them.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's crazy for me to say this. I love the Resident Evil controls, even though people hate them. I love the Turok controls, even though people hate them. I love the Morrowind fighting system, even though people hate it. Yes, there are flaws that make the game that are ridiculous and make people hate the games, but I love them. And so when you remake a game and you take those flaws out, those supposed flaws, I go, but it doesn't feel the same anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but the thing is, I think, and that's what nostalgia is.
Right, exactly. At that point, you might as well just go and play the old one.
Exactly. So, I mean, essentially,
but I'm looking at it from a developer's point of view and trying to make money. And
it makes more sense to just make an HD remake.
Right. Which I've played a few HD remakes, and I honestly don't see much different, other than it looking glossier, which I absolutely hate. I mean, if anyone's played Duke Nukem Forever, everything looks like plastic in that game because they just the graphics that it was built on were horrible. So they essentially HD remaked a game that wasn't even out, and it looks awful.
The God of War 1 was pretty good, and Eco and Shadow of the Colossus look great.
I played through the HD remake of Code Veronica. Sorry to keep bringing Resident Evil. I don't know why I just keep coming up. I played the HD remake of it, and I didn't even notice the difference. Yeah. I noticed no difference.
I mean, I haven't played those games, so I wouldn't be able to.
I noticed a little difference. Okay, now I'm thinking. I noticed a little difference, but it was so minuscule. It's minor, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it is. It's fairly minor. And okay, but I mean, just in general, re-releasing games, I'm not against that, but because generally they do it at a discounted price. Like I think the God of War games is like the 2 games for like $30.
Oh, okay, that's a good deal.
Yeah, on a Blu-ray disc with some extra content and stuff. Like I like that. That's great. Maybe it was 40. Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember. I bought the God of War collection, and it was great.
But this is also one of those things where right now they're not remaking a ton of old games, and so we're kind of asking them to do more.
They're making Final Fantasy X HD remake.
I'll have to see it. Yeah. But like, I know it's one of those things where I know if they actually did start remaking a ton of games, it would be like, oh, just stop with the remakes. We want new content. So obviously, we're never gonna be happy because we're a consuming market, and consuming markets are never happy.
Yeah, essentially, it's the same thing with any thing that happens. Like, there's one great zombie game that comes out, and then we're like, we want more zombie games, and then. Oh no, not another one.
DayZ and Warzy and
There's a lot of, and it's like that. There's fads in video games, and the next one, I don't know. Let's say it's gonna be Vikings. You heard it here first. If only, yep.
But it's not. I don't know. Nostalgia is a weird thing to work with.
Actually, I think the next thing is gonna be like Civil War. I can see that starting.
Like the American Civil War?
Yeah, American Civil War.
Really?
I can call that, yeah. I would be comfortable with saying that.
I feel like that would
be
absurdly boring.
I don't know, I really like that time period. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just insane.
I guess, Assassin's Creed could set that off. But
that's what I'm thinking. It's a possibility. Because, Empire Total War did it, and they did it really well.
Yeah. Screw Assassin's Creed 3.
But that's your opinion.
Yeah. Anyone can hate me for saying that, but I'm sorry. Fine. Boats and a climbing game. I just was done. Anyways, off topic.
Yeah.
Maybe Civil War, but that's regardless. Nostalgia.
Nostalgia, yeah.
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 Okay, nostalgia. So let's move on to our next.
So digital rights.
Digital rights.
What do we mean by digital rights? Well, I'll tell you.
Seamless transitions here on Gaming Nobodies with Umai Downs and Father.
Yep. So I'll tell you what we mean by digital rights. So, as we are getting closer to the digital era, less and less physical copies of games. Yep. It's noticeable in game stores like GameStop where they pretty much don't sell PC games anymore at all.
Because of Steam.
You
can just blame Steam for that.
Pretty much.
Right there.
There's a few other companies that do it, but Steam is the major one.
Yep.
But this brings up the issue of owning your game. Do you own your game?
Which what has set this off is within the last week, the whole Bruce Willis thing has kind of emerged in popular news, which is okay. So Bruce Willis obviously owns a lot of music on iTunes, and when he dies, he wants his children to essentially inherit that music. Much like, say, if you own a record collection, you want to put it in your will that your kids can have it because you own the physical copies.
Yep.
But there's this flaw within the digital, as nice as the digital market is, that you can so easily purchase things and hold on to so many things. You don't technically own that content.
No,
so you can't.
You're renting it for a set price permanently.
Yes, you're renting it permanently.
It's weird. It also is a problem. For example, if for some reason there's a copyright issue or a deal breaks with the company, they can take away that product. For example, this has happened. In memory, I can't remember the stories very well. I might be a little bit off on the details.
Yep.
So what happened? There is one example I think was with Steam. Honestly, it might be another platform, but I'm pretty sure it was with Steam, and that's what really got me more into Steam at that time. And another one was with Microsoft and the Xbox. So I'll start talking about the Xbox one first. I don't know which game this is, by the way, because it was so long ago that I heard this, and I don't remember the details very well. One game was taken off from the Microsoft Marketplace, and they had to essentially take away the game, so people could not play the game anymore.
Right.
And they never refunded anyone, which is a problem.
But it's a different issue, entirely different issue.
Yes. And then the same thing happened on Steam.
Yep.
And they gave people their money back. Right. So
Go Steam.
I have to say I really like Valve, and as a company, I absolutely love them. I have found a lot of respect for that company, and pretty much they can do anything they want, and they generally do things very right.
Yeah, no, they do things very well. But when you're dealing with this whole digital, owning copies, it's frustrating the fact that you don't really, you really don't own this product.
No. Because
and that has to change because as time goes on, really, in the next few years, we're going to see a lot of this, is the game market's going to move more and more to digital. Because, I mean, look at the music industry has moved so far away from physical copies into the digital market. I mean, everyone has iTunes now. I mean, it's
pretty much.
Even though iTunes was an Apple product, it's universally used still. And you have obviously these CD and record stores that are going out of business because
they don't have any business because iTunes is just insane.
And the movie industry is kind of doing the same thing where DVD sales are going down because of things like Netflix. So the digital market is really blowing up.
Yeah.
Now you have the same thing happening with gaming, and Steam is obviously very large on that.
And I mean, it really becomes an issue when with the Bruce Willis thing, like what happens when I die, and like I have a lot of games that I purchased digitally because I love it.
Yeah.
It's so practical. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I can easily access any of my games at any time without having to worry about scratching or like damaging anything, which is great.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And what happens when I die? Like okay, sure, I can put the password.
Yeah.
But that's not practical.
No, it's not.
It's annoying. It is a hassle, especially because
it's such a hassle. Dead.
Well, the main problem is that it also involves emails, and for Steam you have to, if you use another machine, you have to confirm it with an email.
Yeah. Right. It would obviously just be so much simpler if there was some kind of way to actually own these digital copies. You know, because it doesn't seem that ridiculous, because if I go to a store and I buy something physically, yes, I did not make it, so I don't have creative license over it. I don't creatively own it.
Nope.
But I own it. Yes. I can do whatever I want to it.
You can sell it.
I can buy a fridge. I could throw it out a window if I want. I could give it to Father if I wanted.
Yep.
I could burn it if I wanted because I own it. I can do what I want with it.
And Steam has been getting better with this. Like, you can gift games. You can exchange games now. It's actually really cool. They're pretty much at the forefront. And another issue comes when you own something, you should be able to sell it. And this is a thing that it's a big issue. It's a big problem. There's no perfect way of handling this.
Right.
Essentially, there's a good place to learn more about this is an episode of Extra Credits that was made on this subject. They're really intelligent. If you don't know about Extra Credits, go check them out. They're way smarter than we are.
What are you doing on our channel? Go somewhere else.
But I mean, they actually work in the industry, so they know.
They know what they're talking about.
They know what they're talking about. We're talking about this from an external point of view.
Right.
So we have a different point of view than they do.
Yes.
Essentially, there's two ways I can see this going in.
Okay.
Either selling games directly back to the company, with no real profit from Steam.
Steam wouldn't make a profit if you could sell them back because they can't sell used copies.
Really, they can't.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
And the other one is sell directly to other players.
Right.
With a percentage going to Steam and another percentage going to, hopefully, another percentage going to the game developer.
Right.
This is like the ideal. If not, we have the whole GameStop problem again.
Right, yeah, because the percentage just goes to Steam, and then the person who's selling it, obviously, then the game developers get screwed. And right now, other than midnight releases, I don't shop at GameStop because I have huge issues with them, because I think personally that they're one of the big issues of why the gaming industry sucks right now.
Yeah.
Because developers are making so much less money because of used game sales.
Essentially, I only go to GameStop if I want to buy a PS2 game. And I don't want to, it's generally like I'll look at their used game, and if I find, if I find something in their used games collection that I would buy, I just get it. Yeah. And if I happen to be getting something there at the time, and there's maybe a game that's like catches my attention, I'll get it. But I in no way really support GameStop ever. I generally do my game shopping either on Steam or Amazon for my consoles.
Yeah, I pretty much exclusively buy most of my games on Amazon now, other than midnight premieres, because, I'd rather just buy it to Amazon, but obviously they can't mail it to me, and it arrived at midnight, so...
No, they however, they're getting better, getting games to you day one.
Well, they've been good at that for a while.
Yeah.
When I bought Harry Potter the 7th Harry Potter book totally was there on day one.
Oh, also, this is kind of a side note, but I bought my copy of Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it from England.
Yeah.
It was cheaper than it was in Switzerland, and it came a day before the worldwide release.
That's illegal. But hey.
But I pre-ordered it from Ubisoft.
Huh.
I was like, I'm playing this before
they
everyone else.
They probably obviously tried to ship it out so that they could
get it day one. They tried to
guess.
Like
it was right now, I have Heart of the Swarm pre-ordered, but Amazon for some reason thinks it's already out, and so they keep sending me emails saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, we can't find it. It's in our warehouse somewhere. We just don't know where it is." And I just want to be like, "It's not in your warehouse. It's not yet." But that's regardless.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is. No, it's funny. Actually, I was telling that, this is a complete side note. I was telling that to my roommates last night. I was like, "What? You already have it? That's what we're gonna get you for your birthday." I was like, "Nope, already own it."
Yep.
But anyways, so digital copies. It's like, I don't know. It's frustrating because digital copies make everything so much more convenient. It's great.
Yeah.
I love being able to go on Steam and just be like, "Oh, I want Quantum Conundrum buy now."
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. And I can play it right away. Sure, download it, but that doesn't take that much time. It takes probably, a little bit of time, but then you can just play it and it's great, and you can uninstall it and reinstall it, whatever. And it's easy, but then you have the whole issue of you don't actually own it. You can't do what you want with it.
Yeah.
And that's that's frustrating to me, even on just like a psychological level.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
There's limitations that need to be put in place either way, because there's how you would lend like a console game to a friend. Yeah, PC games has always been a little bit different because CD keys and stuff like that. You can't really always do that.
Right.
Which
all power to console gamers. Woo!
Yes. Well, ish. But you can't I can't ever see like you being able to lend your friends games, because that just creates a whole other mess, and like people will just not buy games anymore. They would like have one friend buy a game, then they'll all play it.
Right, exactly.
I feel like that's never gonna happen, and that's fine. I'm okay with that for the most part.
Whatever.
But like there's certain things where you should be able to like have a way. If you don't want your collection anymore, just give it to someone.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't know how they can really make that feasible. Even the idea of selling to other people right now, how the digital market is, it's something they can't do.
No, and they'll have to figure out a system.
Right, it's going to take us years.
Yeah.
To really,
I think within the next 2 years you'll see it.
That would be nice.
Because I'm pretty sure Steam is already working on that.
Oh, hopefully. I mean, because what's complicated about it is it all comes down to copyright problems, and copyright problems suck. They suck so hard.
Yep.
It's awful. It really copyright gets in the way of so much, especially nowadays with YouTube and video games and whatnot.
Yep.
Gets in the way.
It's horrible.
It really. The whole copyright system has to be reworked because
reevaluated.
Right, because it doesn't have the internet in mind whatsoever.
Yeah, no.
And so now with the digital market growing and growing, it's just causing more problems, and they can't. Yeah, exactly. It's just frustrating. That's what it is.
Well, on the subject of copyright, I think we can segue into our next subject, which is probably
we're improving in segues.
Oh God, the next subject is something that is really touchy for a lot of people, and it's piracy.
Yes.
Piracy in video games get people very upset, especially the people who pirate are very defensive about it. Yep. I know I used to pirate. I don't anymore, and I take pride with the fact that I have bought every single game that I've pirated.
Oh.
All of them. Okay. Because I was just like, this is not okay. What I'm doing is not okay because I'm hurting the PC industry.
Right.
Because I gave myself excuses, and I mean, looking back at it, I was just bullshitting myself.
Right.
I'm not saying that, like, there are people who potentially could pirate, and it's okay. Either the games don't come to their country,
right? So
they have no way of playing the games.
Yeah.
And I think pretty much that's the only really
good reason. Or if anywhere where the company doesn't allow like doesn't allow you to buy the game, essentially, where they're so restricted in how they sell it that you can't actually you have no ability to purchase the game. Then I can understand. I can understand that. But like, I mean, I've never pirated. That's more for the reason that I'm horrible with computers and I've never would never be able to figure out how to pirate something. But like, I also have a very strict, like, you know, respect thing going on in my head where I think, well, people worked hard to make this game. They deserve my money, so I should give them my money because I want them to make good games in the future also, and they can only do that with my money.
I mean, it's also the thing where, like, a lot of people's jobs depend on your money. And if you're not giving them your money, then those people will get fired. The studios will get smaller. They'll make worse games. They'll make different games that you don't want. They'll stop making the games that you like because you keep pirating the games. And I mean, we're not calling anyone out like specifically. We're just saying a general you. Y'all.
You all are all. Anyways, but like, and if you want those money, those moments of shut up and take my money, you can only get those with good games, and they can't make those if you just don't give them your money. It's just how, you know.
And
works.
I mean, when you pirate, you know, piracy has spawned DRM, which is especially with Ubisoft games. The DRM on Ubisoft game is just horrid. Make the things almost unplayable in some cases. You always have to be online. And I absolutely hate having to be constantly online for something like that, because I might not always be online with the things I do, especially if I'm on my laptop. And I want to be able to play my games.
I mean, I always hate, I hate having to always be online because, if I'm trying to play a game, I want to play it by myself, and the father gets on and he wants to play with me. I'm like, oh, shut up! I want to be alone.
Exactly.
But no, seriously, like, no, it's frustrating, especially if you have a bad internet connection, or you have no internet connection.
I mean, what are you gonna do? And it's getting better in terms of DRM is getting better. Not like they're not making it as bad. I heard Assassin's Creed 3 is not gonna have an online DRM.
Too bad, it's gonna suck. What? No. What? No.
Let's put it this way: it's not a game for you.
No, it's not. It's and because of boats, literally boats.
And that's fine. It's just you don't.
Anyways,
I'm excited for the game. Whatever.
I'm not.
But like, if you keep pirating, because of the DRM, there's a lot of people that say, "Oh God, the DRM is so horrible. I'm just gonna go pirate the game." But you're just making things worse. You're not helping. Just you know, buy it. If it's a good game, you can deal with it. Like, I've played a fair amount of games that I really should have bought on consoles on the PC and just dealt with it. I've dealt through the issues, and it's never been to the point where it's unplayable. For me, I've generally avoided those games because I can see which game, like generally third person games, I just go on console by default because it's more awkward to play on a keyboard and mouse.
I can see that. I can definitely see that.
Or if I have a third person game, I'll just use a controller. But like, the reason why games nowadays are so console centered is because of piracy. There are fewer games that release on consoles. There's still on computers. There's still games that release for it, and they're great games. But they get hit so much by piracy. Like, you'll see, like, a few hours, even days before the game release, it'll be online on torrent sites, and people will be downloading the hell out of it. And I mean, I've been guilty of this. I don't do that anymore. It's just, I understand the logic behind what you're thinking. When you're saying, well, I wasn't going to buy the game anyways, but then why would you pirate it, and why would you play it if you were not going to buy it anyways? What's the point? You're just making an excuse for yourself where you are just like in your own bubble and saying, I was not going to buy it, so I might as well just pirate it. No, just don't bother. You're not making them lose money in that sense, but you're still taking something that isn't yours.
Right.
And you're not taking a physical copy, which is where a lot of people are like, we're not hurting them in any way. We're not like stealing something. They're not hurting their profit.
Which is true. They're not really in the typical sense. They're not stealing anything.
But imagine if
But they are.
Yeah.
Not in the typical sense.
But imagine if you couldn't pirate. Would you actually get the game? Maybe.
Yeah.
If you never thought of pirating, if you never heard of pirating,
right,
you might actually get the game. You're just thinking that you're not because you're not maybe 100% interested in the game.
Right.
And I mean the whole like the people that there's a lot of people that pirate not with bad intent either because they want to at least try the game before. Watch reviews, listen to the sites that you like.
Yep.
Honestly, it's enough. There are not many demos anymore. That's a thing that's kind of disappearing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited next week is Resident Evil 6 demo, but for the most part, I played the Diablo demo. There's the beta going around for StarCraft Heart of the Swarm, but you don't really see a lot of. I mean, definitely not what you used to see.
No, I mean there were demos for pretty much every game at the time.
There were demos that before the online market, you could buy like game magazines, and they come with little CDs that had
like 10 or so games.
Yeah, like demos, and those are great. Those are I love those.
Those were awesome. But I mean, the thing is, those are gone, and a lot of people are like, well, I want to try the game before I play it. Right. And okay, I'm sure one of your friends has it.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, obviously there will be cases where you don't know anyone. But
if you can't afford it, like you're not like I used to like not buy every game that came out. No? Skip a game. You don't have to play every game if you want to. I hate to say this because it's kind of like insulting and very like looking down on you. Just get a job.
Well,
and
I understand.
Like it's not like I'm not saying, well, you're so poor, like get a job and afford it. I'm saying like, if you can't afford it, wait, like save up, and you don't necessarily. I understand like the excitement.
Right, you don't have to buy every game. That's something I'm definitely learning right now.
Yeah.
For a whole different reason, I'm learning it because I hate the gaming market right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm just not buying any games. Many games at least. But like.
And I mean, like, just think about what you're doing. Like, a lot of these people need that money. It's how that's their work.
Yeah.
And there's so many people.
I mean, you watch any documentary style thing on the game makers, and it's tons and tons of people pouring their lives for hours and hours into making these games and not sleeping and having to work together in these ridiculous situations of I mean when you're an artist that literally draws things and then you have to work with a 3D artist to create what you just drew into a computer, that's not easy. That's a complicated process that requires teamwork.
Yep.
And people have to pour their hours and hours.
And they always work over. They always especially
deadlines.
Game testers.
Oh,
game testers.
Poor
I feel
people.
so bad.
They
work the hardest of all of them, and they get no recognition.
No,
they get nothing.
No.
If there's any game tester listening to this, mad respect for you guys. I hope you guys get better jobs. Like you can actually get into the companies and like as developers and stuff like that. Because a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Like, they have to start off as game testers. Just try to get like a lunch with your boss or something. Something like that.
But yeah, like it's these people. They put so much time and effort into it, and it's ridiculous. I mean, especially when you think keep in mind something like E3, where you have to meet E3 deadlines. Because if you don't do well at E3 as a game, you don't do well.
Generally no.
It can be a death sentence.
The only games that can get away with these are like the big AAA titles like GTA 5.
But a lot of gems come out at E3.
Oh yeah.
And so because people they advertise themselves right at E3, and
I mean I feel like pirating has led to a lot of PC games going free to play, which is not a bad thing. But I don't want all of my games to go free to play because I don't want marketplaces in all of my games.
Right.
Like I want to have like full content in at the very least a good amount of them. Like.
Right. I would love to have. I don't really play any free to play games right now, but I would love to have more, have some that I could really play and see how it works because I don't play a lot of those right now.
But I mean, I'm not saying that free to play market is a bad thing. Like I like it. It's great.
It's an
awesome.
Interesting market.
It's a really interesting market. It has some great potential. It's also had some horrible potential.
Zynga. Yeah. Well, because they have a great model that is awful.
Yeah.
That's just awful.
Yeah. Anyways, piracy. I mean, come on. Like, I know it's not going to stop.
No, it's not going to stop.
No matter what we say,
no
people will keep rationalizing it. Some people are just like, yeah, I don't care, whatever. I'll keep pirating.
I don't care.
Hell, I come from a country where pirating is legal. Like, technically, there's a loophole in the law where you can't upload anything, but downloading is fine.
Yeah.
Because it's considered like public domain type thing. So it's not.
Somehow that makes sense.
Since it's like there,
right.
It doesn't belong to anyone on the internet.
Right.
It's fine.
Oh, copyright laws.
There are actually in Switzerland, copyright does not exist.
Right, but when copyright is hard enough, and then you bring it into an international subject, and then it just becomes absurd. But yeah, because obviously different countries view it differently.
And I mean, like I don't pirate in a country where it's legal.
No.
I could. No repercussions. Right. I don't. I pay. I keep paying. I don't care because if I pay for the stuff, I'll get more.
Right.
And I'll get better stuff. So, I mean, what we're saying is, for those of you who pirate because of money issues and stuff like that, like if you legit can't afford it, no matter what, I can still respect you for that. Like if you actually can't, like, ever afford a game because you have to focus so much on other things. I'm not saying go ahead and pirate. I'm still gonna be like iffy about it, but it's a thing where like it's such a fine line. What's okay, what's not? Because I mean, I'm not gonna tell you like if you can't afford like food, go steal it.
Right.
It's not the same, but
I see your logic because it's something that they feel they need. I mean, humans are known pretty much. We need some kind of form of downtime, and if people get that out of video games, then they almost feel that they need it, or they might be addicted to it, or whatever it is, and then they can't afford it. Yeah, that's a tough situation, but it's also I feel that we still, regardless of it, nothing's going to change because no law. I mean, there's already laws to stop it, and nothing has changed. So there's no way that we can really stop people from uploading these so people can download them, but at the same time, there is just it's very questionable.
And I'm sure there are games that you own that you haven't finished or you haven't played at all. I'm sure that most people actually have games that they have played only a very little, and they like those games. And for some reason, I have a few. Like I have a fair amount that I haven't finished.
I bought that Kingdom Hearts 3DS game. I still have not even opened it.
I've started it. I need to finish it. I haven't gone very far in it. I'm enjoying it, but it's just so many other things.
I understand that maybe there's a game like that you want to buy or you want to have, but you don't want to play that much, and so you almost feel tempted to I should just steal it because I'm not going to play that much, but still.
And I mean, you're not.
Still.
Yeah, it's not like stealing a car where there's not going to be a car there anymore to sell.
Right.
The game is still going to be there to sell, but it's hurting them. It is because if it's oh God, I can't even say it anymore. You're supporting something that is legitimately hurting overall.
Right, because if you like games that much, games are just going to get worse the more pirating.
Yeah, it's going to get more expensive.
Yep.
Or it's going to go into lower quality free-to-play games with marketplaces, which is worse. Like if there's only games with marketplaces, it can be very easily become a lot of pay-to-win games.
Oh, pay-to-win. Yep.
And that's not good.
No, it's not.
It's
really bad, actually.
In any sense. And I mean, like there's a lot of people who are very pissy on both sides about this because they feel like it's fine for them to do it because either they can't afford it or they're in a place where they can't get access to it, and it all depends on like the way you're looking at it and where you are in the world and how like your situation is and stuff like that. But think, if you can get access to the game legal, you have money, and you can afford the games, you have no excuse.
Yeah, Father, I actually really can't agree with you more because no law and no rule is going to stop people from pirating. So it really comes down to the individual looking at their situation and say, okay, do I really have to steal this? There's no way that we can instill that into the population, but that is what needs to happen. Yes. That's the only thing that's going to stop piracy is the individual.
Think about it seriously. The last game that you pirated, that you said you weren't going to buy, would you actually not have bought that game if you had no other choice? I think you would have. I probably would have.
Yeah. I mean, and that, back in the N64 games when there was no internet, there was no way to tell if games were good. I just bought games randomly.
Yeah.
You find them that way.
And I mean, at those times, you would just have to pick a game at random.
Yeah.
If it was a shit game, you were screwed.
Yeah.
And now you have more choice. You can see what games are good. There's reviewers, and there's a lot of different reviewers.
There's so many reviewers.
Go on Metacritic, look at all of the reviews. You read user reviews, although I tend to avoid those because those are like 10s, 5s, and 0s.
Yeah, it's all users effort, game effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's so many ways to get information. You can watch a Let's Play and be like, oh, this looks like a game I really enjoyed playing, or read a review like that. It sounds like a game that you really would love playing. So
try to see if one of your friends has the game, if you could borrow the game just to see if you would like it. Even if you're going to play through the entire game of a game that you borrowed, do it. It's better than pirating.
It's kind of the same thing, but
it's not. It's legal.
I guess it's the same thing, but it's legal.
Yes. Essentially, avoid the things that are illegal because then there's going to be the people are going to make better games. Essentially, is the thing. If pirating drops in the amount and they get more sales, even if it's a few thousand, each copy counts. Really, the thing is, a lot of the people who pirate is my contribution will make no difference. Is there help?
It will.
It will because imagine if a game sells 100,000 copies or 90,000 copies, and there's 100 more thousand that are pirated, and 10,000 of those are people that were well, my copy won't make a difference. It will because it's the total.
Right, it's the total that matters. Yeah, and so it's a tough situation, and we're never. I don't know. It's not going to be solved anytime soon.
Also, don't pirate just because you don't like the developer. Seriously, if you don't like, for example, the Activision for doing Modern Warfare, don't pirate Modern Warfare. That's dumb.
Just don't play Modern Warfare.
Yes. Really, just don't. If there's a game that you're pirating because it's not a very good game and you don't you actually would not have bought it, don't pirate it. It's stupid.
Yeah, I do this thing where if there's bad games, and this obviously this can't work for everyone, but I actually every 2 to 3 years I ask for birthday, Christmas, whatever, for 6 months of gameplay, and I just run through games that way.
Yep.
And I find a lot of shit that I might play for 2 days and be like, oh, this was horrible. And I move on.
I sometimes enjoy playing bad games. It's fun.
There are fun games to play, and then there's Force Unleashed 2, and you're like, oh god, just kill me.
And I mean, the thing is, there are ways around things. Yeah, they're not necessarily the cheapest ways, but there are ways around these things. Gamefly is a good one.
I like doing that every 2 3 years, whatever it is, and it works.
And you can buy the game for a discounted price.
Yeah.
And they may not have the newest games, still.
And their mailing service might be very slow, but it's a good company.
Yeah.
I have nothing against GameFly, but regardless, piracy, please stop. I mean, it's hard for me to really make an argument against it because I come from a console community, not a computer community, even though I'm moving into the computer community. No matter what, I will never be good with computers on a technical aspect. Yes. I just never will be. It's never going to be how I work. I might be better than the average person, but I will not be better than the average gamer ever.
Also, I think the only other times where pirating a game is acceptable is if the game is no longer made and no longer making any profit.
Once again, if you have no ability to access the game and it's the developer's fault, that's pretty much.
For example, a game where I would be more comfortable pirating it. I still don't pirate anymore at all.
Right.
Would be like Battle for Middle-earth. The game is no longer in production, and if you try to buy it, it's like $200 on eBay.
Yes.
For a new copy, which is no. It's a good game. I'm not. No way in hell I would spend that much money on a game.
Right.
Like ever.
No. Okay.
So
is that, have we beaten Piracy Dead yet? Pretty much. I feel we have.
Yeah.
Okay, well, doodlers, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the game Nobodies. We're going to try to stick to the schedule.
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday. Hopefully I think we're going to be able to start doing this every week. I think it's very likely.
Yeah. If you want us to talk about a specific subject that, or you have a news article that you want to share with us or something, leave it in the comments.
Yes.
Tell us about it. We'll have discussions about it. It'll be lovely and awesome.
Yes. If you like either of us, you can find me on YouTube. I am Oop My Downs.
And
Oop My Downs.
Yep.
I do Resident Evil things.
And I can be found as Farther's Bane. I made a spelling mistake, and I feel very stupid because I've noticed it over the summer after having an account for about 6 months.
Yes. Good for you.
However, if you just do a search for Father Let's Play Skyrim heavily modded type things, you'll find me. I do Let's Plays.
Yes.
And right now I'm doing an inactive Let's Play.
Inactive.
A heavily modded Let's Play of Skyrim. I will try to get back to it. However, that won't happen probably for for about a month. I probably will start in about a month. After Borderlands 2 is released.
Oh, right, yes, because you will be doing Borderlands 2 run.
Let's Play with the Tuninator.
The Tuninator. Oh, God.
You hear that, Tuna? It's our time soon.
I will be working with him quite a lot on the Resident Evil 6 news and things like that.
Yep, and if you have any ideas that you want to share, anything, doesn't matter. Right. If you want to tell us how you're doing, let us know.
Yeah, say hello.
Just say hi.
Just say hi.
We like people.
Yeah, we'll be in the comments just saying.
Yes.
Okay.
And we will always respond to your comments, questions, concerns. Yep. Give us a little bit of time though, because we don't regularly check the Gaming Nobodies channel. The Screw Attack channel, however, I can respond to that instantly.
Okay.
And if need be, I can get Father. Sorry. Oops. I
Oops.
just called you Father.
Oh, you just called me Oops
too.
Oh no.
No, but I didn't call.
It's oop.
No, I know it's oops, as in your.
Oh, oops.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I didn't call you oops. I know better.
Oh, good.
It's oops.
He had me scared for a second.
But Oops's opinion, and I can get him to answer or put an answer up for him. My bad.
Yes.
Okay. So this was the Gaming Nobodies podcast, episode 4.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.